Hi, I'm Elijah Horland, and I'm currently in my kitchen, which also happens to double as my first makerspace. Today, I'll be presenting in the 2020 Virtual Maker Fair. I'll be telling you the story about the influence of luck, but before I get into the main portion of that story, let me give you a little bit of background information that will help you better understand it. I am a mythbuster, a maker, and a procrastinator. I even procrastinated on making this video. I began my maker career in 2015, and by 2016, I was a part of the New York City Maker Faire street team. By 2017, I had articles in Magazine and even in a printed copy of Magpie. Now, if you don't know what Magpie is, it's the official magazine of the Raspberry Pi. Along my maker career, I've met some incredible people and gone places and destroyed things that I never would have guessed or imagined just 4 years ago. Do you know that everything from my first digital piano kit all the way until Mythbusters Jr. was training and preparation for my very first project? Along the way, I stalled twice, took a bunch of really cool side trips, and built dozens of other projects as I put together the skills for just one build. And along that sort of maker journey, I learned that there's actually one thing you can do that will change how lucky you are in any given situation. In May of 2015, I was lucky enough to get invited to the top of the One World Trade Center twice, and on my second visit, I brought my grandma. Now, when my grandma was up there, she observed that she could see the curvature of the Earth from the height she was standing. Now, me and my dad knew that that was definitely not true. There was no way she could see that from where she was standing. And, I'm not a flat earther. I definitely know that the Earth has a curve. So that begged the question, at what height can you see the Earth's curve? Inspiration on how to solve this question hit over summer break. I went to a camp full of makers, and obviously I met some people with really talented engineering skills. And that inspired me to build a high-altitude balloon to measure and test at what height you can see the Earth's curvature. When I got back from camp, I went down to this little store in downtown Manhattan called Tinkersphere, and after a chat with the woman behind the counter I asked her about Arduinos. She recommended that the right computer for the project would be the Raspberry Pi, and the newest model at the time was the Raspberry Pi 2B. So of course I bought that model. I almost walked out with a bag of marbles instead, but I ended up walking out with my first microcontroller.
Watch the LED bulb. You watch it.
Ooh. I should have done.
I was actually doing really well with my new Raspberry Pi. I went from booting it to blinking my first LEDs on the GPIO within about a day. I learned how to solder that same week, and I was picking up new skills daily. It really helped fill up the 3 weeks before school.
That was one done. Well, it's not done. That was two.
I ended up picking up a Globostar satellite tracker as one of my tracking options for the balloon. I emailed Globostar to sort of activate my Globostar account. And luck strikes here because I get redirected to the sales manager of Globostar, who sends me a newer, smaller, lighter version of the satellite, and we become good friends. He gives me a month of free service to learn how the satellite works, but this is sort of where my luck begins to stop. Unfortunately, it was the beginning of a new school year, and I was only scheduled for one maker day per week, and sometimes on weekends, which would mean my learning of new maker skills would significantly slow down. During my maker days, I would build these really cool soldering kits, one of my first of which was actually a Velman view meter. When I finished it, it didn't really measure volume like how it was supposed to, but, it lit up and that was good enough for me to take to school and show off to my friends. One of my friends, Marwa, was actually really interested in how it worked, so I ended up inviting her to my maker days. Eventually, we were building little soldering kits and tinkering with our Raspberry Pis every week of the school year. The balloon project was always there, and I knew I was making progress towards being able to finish it, but honestly, I was having so much fun building crab and mouse robots, little holiday-themed projects, and even our own science project that ended up being put on the back burner for a very long time. By the way, we won the science fair that year, which is extremely lucky. It was my last year of elementary school, and I wanted to make a goodbye gift for two of my friends, twins who are also graduating. Now, Pi Zero was brand new, and thanks to Magpie, I had one. In just a few days, I'd made an Outside Box retro gaming console. And see, luck strikes here again when Caleb Kraft from MakeZine ran a short article about me on MakeZine's website. 2016 and 2017 kind of blur together here, but it's important to note that I go to my first Maker Faire and meet some incredible people there, some of which are people from Velman who had seen my kit reviews on my blog and requested that I join Twitter. Suddenly, when I joined Twitter, a world of people started commenting on all of my things, everything from my butterfly tweets all the way to my Maker projects. One day, a YouTuber who's also a maker on Twitter got into a car wreck. Her name is Allie Weber, and her long minivan trip to Alabama to attend space camp resulted in the death of 2 vehicles and many insects on her windshield, butterflies included. She had seen my butterfly tweets and publicly apologized to me for the carnage. To be honest, her KDR went way up that trip. Allie and I started messaging back and forth on Twitter, and soon we were friends. It's important to note that both of us made notable achievements and losses that year. One of my bigger achievements was winning Micro Center's Rule of School contest, which gifted both me and my school a new FlashForge Finder 3D printer. One day, she shared a casting call note with me on Twitter, and that's how I became a Mythbuster on Mythbusters Jr. Bad luck for butterflies, good luck for me.
I have a question. All right. It's actually, do we also get free ice cream?
Hey, that's a good question. Do we get free ice cream?
I think so.
Can we have a big hand for Jen?
Eventually, we were done shooting Mythbusters Jr., we'd gone to the 2018 World Maker Faire, and then gone back to our lives. 2019 rolled around, and our show went to air, and it was time to find other things to do while waiting to see if we get a second season. Samantha Snyder, who was working with Micro Center when I won that Rule of School contest, had a great idea for me. Representing OKDo, the company that manufactures the Raspberry Pi at the Bay Area Maker Faire 2019, the last flagship Maker Faire. I'd come up with a couple good ideas, but after talking with Matt Stoltz, we narrowed it down to finishing the high-altitude balloon project to show off the versatility of the Raspberry Pi. The one thing I never actually figured out during my original balloon project was how to find the right place to launch, and then how to find where the balloon's gonna land. Well, I was actually in school for the conference call Matt had with my dad that broke it all open for me. See, I call it the rubber ducky method. Now, Matt never actually mentioned rubber ducks, but here's about how it goes. You take duck A, and then... These ducks are a little bit smaller than I would hope for. Now, let's work with something a little bit bigger. So you take duck A and place it about where you're gonna land. Then, you take duck B and run some simulation flights from duck A. Wherever the simulation flights land, you place duck B there. Then, you take duck C, and then you move it an equal distance in the opposite direction from duck A, making sure that duck A is the midpoint of duck C and duck B. To recap, duck C, launching point, duck A, landing point, and duck B, third duck. So even if you don't find your launching and landing locations, at least you got to play with rubber ducks, so it's a win-win. My first launch was just plain bad luck. I bought a 100-foot helium tank because an online calculator made by High Altitude Science told me that I would need at least 90 cubic feet of gas to launch. Unfortunately, when the tank was sold to me, it wasn't even sold to me full, which meant the balloon never had enough gas in it to lift the gondola off the ground. That day was just shot. I didn't have enough time to go and buy more helium, and the only other launch day was the day right before my flight to San Francisco for the Bay Area Maker Faire. It was a long shot, but the show must go on. Luckily, High Altitude Science sent me an overnight package full of emergency supplies, some of which got left over, so I'll be using it for another flight soon. PCS-1, or X+6? Right, this is PCS-1. PCS-1 space flight test in 3, 2, 1. Oh! What? PCS-01 flight test 2 in 3, 2, 1. Oh! Let go. I think I might have left my phone in the box. No, we're good. Oh God. Oh, God, we're in the end game now. This is what I've been working towards for 3 years. Oh, God. Oh, okay. Get in the car, get in the car, get in the car! This time, my tank had twice as much helium as I needed, and that's a good thing, since my first balloon went up without anything under it. See, I'd let it go too fast, which made it snap the string, leaving everything behind. Luckily, one of the things that High Altitude Science gave me in their care package was a backup balloon, which is just the thing I needed. And that balloon went up without a hitch. Everything went up. Starting in Ithaca, New York, I followed the box south until it landed on a mountain just south of the Susquehanna Valley in Pennsylvania. So, I believe the balloon has landed because the satellite says that it's not moving anymore. And I believe that's landed somewhere back there. Unfortunately, that's a very broad area, so I'm going to have to go looking. And the first step to getting back there is going up that. Alright, so yeah. What's my plan to get back down? Didn't exactly design a way to get back down. You coming? Hi, I'm Elijah. I got lost in the woods trying to find the box that went into near-Earth orbit. I still haven't found it, and I'm probably not going to get it back today. Yeah. Hi, I'm Elijah Horland. Can't find the gondola, but I did find a road. I'm no longer in that forest, which means I'm not going to go missing. Alright, so yeah, today's been an eventful day. To retrieve it, I had to go up the mountain. It was raining, parts of it were a sheer climb up, but I finally made it to the top of the mountain to use my phone to locate the satellite tracker. It was half of a good plan. See, the box landed in a place that didn't have cell data, which meant even though the box was broadcasting its location, I couldn't receive it. I had to call the box lost. I was crushed. I sent out a tweet with its coordinates and went to sleep. My backup plan was to bring an acoustic levitator that I'd built the year before. The public hadn't seen much of it, so it was an okay plan. It was time to face the music. I woke up near San Francisco, dreading my 8 a.m. meeting downstairs in the hotel cafe. Samantha, Matt, and the entire OK Do team were waiting for me to come downstairs to show them my gondola, back from its high altitude, which I didn't have. Of course, I showed them my backup plan, the levitator, and it was honestly a lot of fun to play with. But just as I was opening my eyes, that morning, I got the most incredible notification on my phone from Twitter. Apparently, a group of students from the Montrose Area High School, including Michaela Stahl, led by Professor Anthony McInnes, went up the mountain and found my box. Here's the story from WNEP News, Pennsylvania.
Susquehanna County answered the challenge of a TV star and succeeded.
He tweeted that a weather balloon from the TV show Mythbusters Jr. went down and wanted someone to find it. Newswatch 16's Ali Gallo shows us how Montrose area students did.
We are continuing to climb this horrible hill.
It started pouring, and we were determined at that point. So we hiked up this mountain. We crawled at one point on all fours.
Students at Montrose Area High School were looking for something specific. A weather balloon launched by a Mythbusters Jr. cast member, 13-year-old Elijah Horland.
Oh my God, I think I found it! Oh my God, I found it!
I just saw this little piece of red material that could have been a leaf for all I know. And at that point, I just started screaming that I had found it.
Mythbusters Jr. is a show on the Science Channel. One of its stars posted on Twitter last week that his weather balloon went down somewhere in the woods in the Susquehanna area. He gave the GPS coordinates and asked for help. And Montrose Area High School teacher Mr. McInnes and his science class took on the challenge.
If we did find it, I was expecting it to be like 30 feet up in a tree that we can't get. Like, all right, we're gonna have to find a way to get it down somehow.
Mr. McInnes and his science class were already taking a field trip on that day last week to the Lackawanna coal mine tour, and they decided to take a quick detour first.
And all of us were kind of skeptic on like if we're actually gonna go out and do this, but he was really like set on doing it, so we were like, okay, let's go out and do it.
And out they went. The class of mostly seniors about to graduate played along with their science teacher.
We programmed it into a GPS that one of the other teachers had for geocaching, and got to a general location that was pretty close.
Mr. McKennis teaches environmental science here at the high school, so he thought this was actually a valuable lesson for his students.
So it's a lot of forestry stuff, wildlife, aquatics, things like that. So being out on the mountain and everything else like that tied right into what the curriculum was.
And Michaela says since she's the one who found the weather balloon, she shouldn't have to take her final exam. Allie Gallo, Newswatch 16, Susquehanna County.
Now, it's really lucky for me that all these things happened in just the way they did. From my perspective, I see becoming a Mythbuster as just something that happened along the way to this project. Now, earlier in the presentation, I mentioned that there's one thing that you can do to alter how lucky you are in any given situation. Well, that begs the question, what is it? Well, think back of all the instances of luck in this presentation. Do you see a common theme? I do. Friends. Every single stroke of luck I ran into in this project was because of someone I met and made friends with along the way. Remember, you're not in this alone. You don't have to invent everything in a project to make it a good idea. But most importantly, as cheesy as it sounds, make friends. They'll make all the luck you need. Since we have some extra time, here's some highlights from the flight.
Boom.
Allie is in for Kurt today, and Allie had some special visitors today in the backyard and in the Weather Center.
I did. So yes, I met these group of students from Montrose Area High School back in May. Now they have since graduated, but they did have one more thing they needed to do, one last field trip. They came here. Take a look.
Last month, Newswatch 16 introduced you to the Montrose Area High School students who found a weather balloon in the woods in Susquehanna County. One of the cast members of the Science Channel TV show Mythbusters Jr. launched it from Ithaca, New York. It was supposed to land in Fleetville, Lackawanna County, but instead it landed near Brushville, about 30 miles off.
Have you ever tripped on a staircase and ended up a step up from where you were? That's pretty much what I keep on doing.
Montrose Area High School science teacher Anthony McKennis saw that the Mythbusters Jr. star who launched the weather balloon was looking for help finding it. Elijah Horland tweeted out the coordinates, and Mr. McKennis and his class went on the hunt.
Something different, a fun activity for them. A lot of them were seniors, so I figured it'd be a nice adventure, and the simple fact of going out and actively searching for something like this, I thought would be a unique experience for them.
Hit a couple branches, yeah.
After sharing their story on WNEP, the Montrose Area High School students and the Mythbusters Jr. star met here at the news station to reunite the weather balloon with its owner. Michaela Stahl was the one that first spotted it in the woods on that rainy day.
We wanted to open it and we wanted to charge it, but we figured we probably shouldn't because A, it wasn't ours, and B, we didn't know what was inside of it.
So after weeks of waiting and wondering what was inside, the students finally got to see.
It has a modem and a GPS.
It means a lot that he really enjoyed and appreciated us finding it, because he was kind of upset about it, understandably.
And Elijah got his box back and got to meet new friends. In his words, like tripping up the staircase, an ultimate fail up.
They found the box. They actually did. They did the thing.
And they actually wanted to do that here in the backyard, but it was raining for much of the time that they were here, so I was able to give them a tour of the station, but yes.